Joining us now for Word Brief and the review of some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is our own Adefemi Akinsanya. Ijebu Queen.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you? Welcome back to the Reuben.
Thank you.
How was Abidjan?
Yeah.
Wonderful. It looks like you had a great time and delivered a wonderful speech as always. It's great to have you back.
As usual.
Good morning, Adefemi. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm actually just saw, Refine and we played tennis yesterday and we had a good time. Refine's quite strong.
Did that influence the choice of your outfit?
It did. And I love that you saw that.
Yeah.
Good morning to you all. Good morning to you viewers. Let me tell you what's happening around the world. Now, Simon Ekpa, a Finnish citizen who was, of course, born in Nigeria, has been sentenced to 6 years in prison after a court in Finland convicted him on terrorism-related charges. Now, the court found Ekpa attempted to promote the independence of the so-called Biafra region in southeastern Nigeria by illegal means, while also equipping armed groups with weapons and explosives through his network of contacts. Now, the judge also found that he engaged in illegal activities between August 2021 and November 2024 and had also used social media to incite the public to commit crimes in Nigeria, earning him the title of media warrior in international news coverage. Now, Ekpa, who is a former councillor in the Finnish city of Lahti, previously said that he led a faction within the illegal IPOB, the Indigenous People of Biafra group, and he was actually arrested at his home in Finland back in February 2023. Meanwhile, the Nigerian government has called for Ekpa's extradition in order for him to face justice in his home country, right here in Nigeria, where IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu is being tried on terrorism charges also. Now, Simon Ekpa was convicted of aggravated tax fraud in addition to these terrorism charges. Though he has denied the charges against him, it's unclear at this point whether or not he will appeal these convictions. In the UK, its latest effort to curb its migration crisis, the Home Office is temporarily suspending applications for a scheme which allows refugees to bring their family members to the United Kingdom. Now, British Home Secretary Yvette Cooper says the high number of family reunion applications is putting pressure on housing nationwide, as refugees often apply for the families to join them within a month of receiving indefinite leave to remain. Under the current system, an asylum seeker granted indefinite leave to remain in the United Kingdom can bring in children under the age of 18 and their partner if they can prove that they've been in a relationship for at least 2 years. Now, proposed new reforms would require a waiting period before family reunion applications can be made. Now, though the move has been condemned by refugee charities, it appears the Labour government is trying to push back against a rising wave of far-right support for Nigel Farage's Reform Party in UK opinion polls. This is all happening against a series of anti-immigration protests and attacks on migrant hotels, most recently in Epping, which is just outside of London, northeast of London, over the weekend. Now, UK opposition parties say Labour has failed to tackle migration. Now, speaking of UK opposition parties, leader of the UK Conservative Party, Kemi Badenoch, has been urged to come clean after doubts have circled her claim that she received an offer to study medicine at Stanford University in California when she was 16 years old. Now, Badenoch has defended her claim to have received an offer as a teenager in Nigeria from the elite university to study medicine, sometimes described by her as pre-med, even though the university does not actually offer that course for undergraduates. Now, John Ryder, who was the admissions officer during that period that Badenoch would have applied, told the press that he had been responsible for international admissions and scholarships and had not offered one to Badenoch, and that no offers were made based on O-levels alone, which is what she would have sat at that time. Now, in response, Badenoch insists that she did receive offers based on her exam results, saying that this was over 30 years ago and that newspapers should be focused on what the government is doing and not on reporting hearsay. For the record, Kemi Badenoch did go to school. She does hold an LLB, a Bachelor's of Law, from Birkbeck University of London, as well as a master's degree in engineering from the University of Sussex. So she does have an undergraduate, a postgraduate, but it is not a degree in medicine or pre-med from Stanford. Though she never said that she went in fairness, she said that she received an offer based on her school results when she was 16 years old.
See,
Tell the truth is what Rufai is saying.
That's what I'm saying. See, the truth has to be said. Kemi Badenoch must bring that offer letter that she received. If she doesn't bring it out, I think the Conservative Party, if they are smart enough, should remove her. Because
it's been 30 years. Can she find it? It's been 30 years.
Femi, your documents.
This is before the internet.
Your documents, you can't find it. No, it's not. Why? You don't try to.
It's been 30
Kemi,
years.
see. Don't try to support some people that we can't fit their certificates here today. Don't even go there.
Perhaps she's a bit more Nigerian than people want to give her credit for.
Your documents, you have to keep them. Most of my documents from that many years ago, my father, God bless engineer, said, if you put it in my clear file.
A Nigerian parent knows how to look after a document,
so
to be honest.
If you got such a document, Kemi, to be able to disperse this, to be able to, dispel the rumors, should be able to bring the document out. Ayo, you still have your first school leaving certificate, don't you?
I saw my primary school results.
Yeah. Okay.
Your birth certificate, you still have it. So, what is longer than Kemi should bring out the documents? If it's not by denying it, and we should look at it. Maybe she knows how to abuse Nigeria. She too should bring out the documents. If we will call her names.
Go ahead.
Secondly, the wave of migration problems in the UK is so sad. Mm-hmm. There have been constant protests, and the sad thing is people are fueling it. If you go and check Elon Musk, since he got out of favor with Trump, what he's now doing is to fuel immigration protests in the UK. Mm-hmm. Epping used Twitter. He used Twitter to fuel it because the algorithm definitely will make his tweets very amplified. Many other protests that are going on. And that's why they're forcing the Labour Party now to be able to say, okay, the timeline at which we give for your family to be able to join you, we want to extend that because they are clueless as regards what to do, and immigration is a problem. They cannot respond to it quickly. You remember what happened with the Epping case, how they went to court, and they had to even go to court to be able to appeal that case. So it's a big problem on their hands today. And if something is not done, it's going to affect them. They're already slumping in the polls. If elections were held today, Nigel Farage will be the next PM because the Reform Party is doing so well, and the major grouse is immigration. But see, let me also predict. It is when Nigel Farage gets into power and becomes the PM, the UK will now understand how clueless Nigel Farage is to manage the economy, even more clueless than Keir Starmer. Just like I predicted that Keir Starmer will be more clueless than Rishi Sunak. So there's a dearth of leadership everywhere. But this is a big problem that if it's not nipped in the bud, will cause a big problem. Once again, Kemi, bring out the letter. They gave you offer. You have a letter. Bring it out.
In defense of Kemi, I do agree that anything could have happened. A fire, she's moved locations a number of times. The offer letter could have been, someone said rats could have eaten, rodents could have eaten, not rats in Nigeria because we have rodents in the UK as well.
Course.
But, and it was an offer letter. It wasn't a certificate of degree. So you can lose those letters. But I do think, and like you'd mentioned when we were having a conversation earlier, Rufai, that a lot of times when you speak a lot, you might have the opportunity to embellish the truth. Yeah. So she might have been brilliant, she might have been intelligent and gotten interests from different schools with an offer to, but it might not have really been how she said it. And the UK will catch you out on a lie. They will investigate and they'll catch you out on a lie.
Can do
Absolutely. But let me stay in the UK this morning, and I often say that I have an interest in asylum seekers and refugees because I worked with them. And so I do think that there's a lot of misinformation, and I believe that it's deliberate in order to fuel this intolerance and the protests and the, this unwelcoming stance by a number of British people to foreigners. Let me establish the fact that a lot of people who are seeking asylum in the UK are people from areas where there's conflict or threat to their lives, and there's a provision for them under the treaty, the EU Convention on Rights on Human Rights, which the UK is signatory to. Yes. Part of that is which Yvette Cooper is now challenging, is right to family life. And that was a route by which asylum seekers, when they achieve refugee status, are able to bring in their family members. The UK is better than some other European countries whereby there's no process. As long as you have your indefinite leave to remain following an asylum seeking claim and you become a refugee, you can then invite your family members who are perhaps also facing what you ran away from your home country. Between 2002 to 2025, top 5 nationalities of those claiming asylum in the UK were Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran, and Eritrea. You can hear the names of the countries. They are war-torn countries. And unfortunately, in many of these countries, the West is responsible for what is happening in those countries. And so many of these people come into the UK on boats. When they arrive, they seek asylum at the border. And then because of the signatory to that treaty, the UK has to absorb them, then process their claim to check to verify whether it is authentic. It is a very rigorous process. Yes, now, when I talked about hotels where they put them in to hold them in the initial state, some people hear hotel and immediately they think luxury. There's nothing luxurious about the life that they live. They are not allowed to work. They are now, some of them, it's a new environment for them. In fact, some of them are still going through post-trauma. So they are living a horrific life. So please don't think it is something that is just living the life. And then many of them are professors. They were doctors in their home country. They come into the UK highly skilled. And so they had to come into to the UK and then had to now go back almost as if back to, so it's dehumanizing for them. So please don't think it is a pleasant process for them. It's sad for me, and I'll end here, to imagine that the UK, which was very welcoming and was our home for people who were fleeing war-torn areas, is now pushing a lot of hate and intolerance. I understand the case for the economy of it in terms of the cost for it, but I do think that the benefits far outweigh the negatives. And I'm so sad that this is happening now in the UK as a result of pressure put on the Labour Party.
Thank you, Ayo.
Okay, Kemi Badenoch seems to be, unfortunately, acquiring a reputation as a habitual liar. However, the issue is that, you cannot accuse her of perjury because these lies, serial lies, one after the other, are not on oath. Otherwise, it will have been a very serious matter. She has consistently lied against Nigeria, describing our own home country as a country of violence, as a country where nothing works. She even rejected Nigerian citizenship. And we have had a heartache on this table, having to call upon a family to remind her how such children who have Nigerian heritage had described. Children who point to their father's house with a left hand. Now, what we are saying is that, look, this is a habit. Now, it's just been revealed that she even lied about, admission to Stanford University, one of the major universities. John Reeder, who is still alive, admissions officer, under 3 deans, has just debunked all the lies. That one, they don't admit on the basis of O-levels. They don't admit on the basis of standardized test scores. They don't admit people who are 16-year-old. They don't offer half scholarship. Claims that, Kemi Badenoch has been making since 2017 in Huffington Post. That same lie has been repeated in the Spectator, it's been repeated in the Daily Mail, it's been repeated on media platforms across the UK. The Conservatives are defending her, saying that, well, this is not an issue, people should not deal with military. No, it's an issue. A person occupying the position to become the future British Prime Minister should not be a liar. The issue is not about education. I saw you trying to say he has a bachelor's in law, he has a master's in engineering. No, it's not about her qualifications. We're not saying she's not educated. Sure. We are saying that she cannot lie because character, I go back to the point about character, is very important to leadership. And she is occupying a leadership position. She cannot use that position to earn a reputation as a habitual liar. On the issue of migration, yes, which you also brought up. Well, look, the Labour Party is under tremendous pressure. Yes. That's why Yvette Cooper is saying, look, we'll take another look at it. Now, migrants will now be subjected to the same principle, same rules as regular migrants. What are the regular rules? £29,000 per annum. Yeah. You must have earned that as salary. Mm-hmm. 2, You must have accommodation where you can put your people that will come. What exists now is that when people cross the boat, across the channel, and they get to England, within 1 month, they are filing for their relations to come and join them, putting pressure in terms of housing and in terms of policy on the government. So the proposal that the Labour Party is now putting on the table has to do with one, the ECHR, European Community Human Rights Law, which charities are saying, look, you have no obligation, you cannot discriminate against asylum seekers. Two is the deal with France, which they're saying will come into effect later this month. In other words, you see Labour under pressure trying to address the problem. In Denmark, in Switzerland, for you as a refugee to even bring your family members, you spend at least 2 years.
Yes.
But in Britain, everybody just wants to bring. But of course, the polls, opinion polls are not favoring Labour. It's favoring Reform UK and also favoring UKIP,
Yes.
the United Kingdom Independent Party. Yes. So Labour, you see, is trying to address the situation. Finally, on Simon Ekpa, I think that Minister of Information, Mohammed Idris, is absolutely right to say that this is a victory for Nigeria. Yes. It's also a message to all those Nigerians in diaspora who think that they can fight Nigeria from elsewhere on the basis of terrorism, arming dissident, separatist groups in Nigeria, that there's no hiding place for anybody who is promoting terrorism. It is also instructive that the Nnamdi Kanu-led IPOB faction has disowned Simon Ekpa, who leads a group called, what do they call themselves now? Something Patriot, whatever, that they are not part of them. And Simon Ekpa has now been indicted, convicted, 6 months in prison, to say you cannot stay in Latvia, in Finland, and be encouraging terrorism, sending ammunitions and arms to destabilize Nigeria, supporting a separatist group called Biafra in Nigeria. I think he got what was coming for him. However, the point is that it can still go on appeal.
Yes.
So, because, under the legal system, jurisprudential system, you get sanctioned by the court of first instance, you go on appeal. In fact, some Nigerians, I don't want to name them, who even say that the 6 years conviction is not enough. But, in law, it's not about the length or the depth of the indictment or conviction. It's about the principle of it.
Agreed.
I hope other people in diaspora who are trying to sabotage Nigeria will learn from this.
Yes.
Agreed. Well, thank you all for your wonderful submissions to the World Brief, as always. Let's move on to newspaper headlines across the globe. We begin, of course, with the front page of This Day. This Day leads with politics. Now, in response to the Aviation Minister, Festus Keyam's claims that a Jonathan presidency in 2027 poses a legal risk, the former president has released a 2022 court judgment which affirms his right to run again. Though he has not made any concrete announcement to run again, he says he's still consulting. Now, the response was also picked up by the Vanguard, as former President Goodluck Jonathan says Festus Keyamo should keep off his political journey. The Daily Sun stays with politics too, and you have the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, who has rejected the prospect of Goodluck Jonathan returning to the presidency in 2027. Peter Obi hasn't escaped Wike's wrath either, as the minister opposes a reportedly imminent comeback to the PDP. Wike has thrown his support behind President Tinubu's re-election. Now, The Advocate by Onikepo Braithwaite, which is part of this day's weekly legal insight, does wade into this debate over the legality and duration of terms. Now, she does note that comparisons have been made between Goodluck Jonathan, who served the rest of the late Umaru Musa Yar'Adua's presidential term following the latter's death, and then went on to be elected in 2011 and served 4 years. And then if he is elected again for a full 4-year term, it means that he would have served 9 years and 23 days as president. Now, she says that comparing that prospect to that of Ondo State Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa completing Rotimi Akeredolu's term when the latter died, my apologies, is comparing apples and oranges. So she weighs into this debate in her article, as always, a very good educational and riveting read. But if we go back quickly to the Daily Sun, there's also news of the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Rubadu, and Kaduna State Governor Ubasani, both accusing former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai of plotting to destabilize Nigeria over El-Rufai's claims that the NSA office was coordinating the payment of some 1 billion naira to bandits. Now, the New Telegraph leads with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tugar, disclosing that Nigeria's foreign missions are also facing financial challenges, keeping them from paying rents or receiving salaries. Now, the federal government, in response, has set up a committee to assess and confirm the debt profile of Nigeria's foreign missions, with a view to ensuring that payments are justifiable and carried out based on equity and fairness to all affected. Now, according to the federal government, based on responses from missions and evidence provided, more than 80% of the available funds have been cleared for payments, with priority given to service providers, salaries of locally recruited staff, and arrears of claims due to officers. There's also news that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs says that it has also engaged the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation in obtaining refunds for the shortfall in missions allocations in the 2024 fiscal year due to foreign exchange differentials associated with the new monetary policy and harmonization of exchange rates. To the Punch. As we discussed during the World Brief, the federal government may seek Simon Ekpa's extradition after he serves his 6-year sentence in a Finnish prison on terrorism charges. That does depend on the findings of a judgment review, says the Attorney General of the Federation, Latif Fagbemi. Meanwhile, the Information Minister, Mohammed Idris, says that Ekpa's conviction, as Dr. Rubin rightly laid out, is a warning to extremists. Now, the Daily Trust also leads with this story. Finally, The Guardian leads with local airlines struggling as foreign airlines rake in some $1.7 billion from the Nigerian market. Now, Ethiopian Airlines, British Airways and Emirates are among the leaders on weekly foreign flight frequency statistics. Now, at this point, just 3 Nigerian airlines, Air Peace, Ibom Air and Overland Airways, are on either regional or international routes with a collective 10% of market share. So it's actually not very much when we're looking at the vastness of the Nigerian airline market. But those are your newspapers. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Thank you for your time.